B1AG, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and the producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, I'm trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of our presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Welcome back to B1AG. This is John Henry Harris, and we also have Farmer Brown EMC. Here at B1AG, we focus on Black agriculture as it pertains to agricultural production, education, health, food, nutrition, marketing, and economics, all for the Black family and the Black community. Welcome back. Greetings. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's the end of the week. I know down here in the Southeast, we're in the middle of hurricane season, so we're getting a lot of rain. I really wish we could send some of this rain out to the West Coast because they really need it. The Western United States is suffering through a mega drought. That's over 10 years of sustained drought conditions. And literally the West Coast is drying up. And here at B1AG, when we focus on agriculture, water is one of the main ingredients when it comes to, agriculture. You have to water the plants, just like we need water. The world is almost 80% water. Water is a key element for life. It is a building block for life. And what we'd like to talk to you about today is a retired Black military veteran named Moses West. In 2015, Moses West, he actually created a machine called the atmospheric water generator. Now, he's made it, and what this atmospheric water generator does, it actually creates clean, drinkable water from the air. Now, how smart is that? It's actually, and as scientifically advanced as that sounds, actually making water out of the air, it's actually it's not a difficult process at all. But he was able to put this in a machine and make clean, drinkable water from the air. And we're gonna look at not only Moses West, but also the number of solutions that his machine can actually remedy. Like, there's so many things that having a machine that makes water out of air, there's so many problems, especially in agriculture, that this machine can solve. And we're going to take a look into all of that. Farmer Brown, what do you have to say about Moses West and atmospheric water generator?
First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well. Suppression. This doesn't surprise me. I actually was hip to this story a few years back. And, this is when the Flint, Michigan situation was, heavy in the press. And it was baffling. Okay, there's somebody that has a solution to a problem. What's the issue? But when we're talking about the USDA, when we're talking about the United States government, the global government, large corporations that profit off of people problems that are framed around the ecosystem. This isn't a new phenomenon. Problem, reaction, solution. I say the problem. I tell you the problem. I know you're going to react to it, and then I'm going to sell you a solution. A lot of the times, this solution is our freedom. Our freedom is what we pay. And so I think this is definitely a deep discussion. I'm definitely interested in going in a little deeper about this gentleman's creation and innovation. I would also like to say this is a motivational moment for us to see that, hey, there's more to creating businesses than just products to sell people. What about products that, help our environmental situations?
And really, that's what makes Moses West so important, because he is literally choosing philanthropy over profits. He does not charge for this machine. He does not charge for its services. He's giving away hundreds and thousands of gallons of water, clean, drinkable water, to those who need it the most. Back when they had the hurricanes down in Puerto Rico, they were without clean water. He took this machine down to Puerto Rico and he gave away free water to those people in that community. Flint, Michigan, he also did the same thing. And sadly enough, like 3 days after he got there, they vandalized his machine. He was giving away free water and they vandalized his machine. But before we get further into those stories, I would just like to show you the current state of this country right now when it comes to water. We're in a jam. We're in a jam. But Moses West machine does offer the answer. But just to give you more framework on what's really going on in this country and the importance of water. We talk about food, but food and water, they go hand in hand.
It's amazing to see it up close. The largest reservoir in the United States is running on empty. Lake Mead, behind iconic Hoover Dam, is at its lowest level in nearly 90 years, down to just 37% capacity.
This landscape screams problems to me. I mean, just look at the bathtub rings. To me, that is an enormous wake-up call.
A punishing drought has cut water flows, risking power production from the dam, potentially triggering cuts downstream on the Colorado River, water that supplies Arizona, Mexico, and California's lush agricultural lands.
We have a field that is not planted. It has no water.
Farmers are already bracing for an economic disaster and are leaving fields unplanted.
This year we can't plant because we don't know when we'll get water that we are trying to get for these crops.
According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, 54% of the land in western states is experiencing extreme or exceptional drought. In California, it's an astonishing 85%. A mega drought brought on by rising temperatures due to climate change, coupled with growing demand. Tough choices lie ahead. Salmon now have to be trucked from hatcheries to the sea. Their natural spawning grounds have dried out. On California's Lake Oroville, houseboats are being pulled out of the receding water before it's too late.
They're projecting by the end of summer there will be no available ramps, no access. They may have to move marinas, all over water.
Utah's governor has resorted to asking for divine intervention.
Please join me and Utahns, regardless of religious affiliation, in a weekend of humble prayer for rain.
Without substantial rain, there's near certainty of another explosive wildfire season.
I'm nervous. Last year being the worst fire season on record, this year is definitely shaping up to be even worse.
There's also a sense that this is all a preview of the new normal in one of the fastest warming regions of the United States. Jackson Prosco, Global News, Washington.
They want us to be, they're saying that, like I said, it may be the new normal. When it doesn't have to be. Because there's an invention that a black man created that can cure, that can help with all of that?
You know, what's that got to do with me? That's in California. That's the farmer's problem. That's the Department of Interior's problem. Do you like apricots? Do you like peaches? Do you like pears? Do you like tomatoes, apples, grapes, cherries, blueberries? Do you like wine? All of that comes from the West Coast, family. And so either it's not going to be any, or what you do get is going to be exorbitantly higher. So this does directly affect all of us. You know, when we have this B1AG conversation, you know, it's mainly focused around agriculture production and marketing. But even if you're not in the agricultural space, we're all consumers of some sort of food. I imagine if there's 390 million people in North America, 45 million melanated people in North America, all of us eat a significant percentage of food, produce, fruits, and vegetables that are grown on the West Coast. And so this isn't just a news story to kind of gloss over. This isn't just some environmental issue that the tree huggers address. This is something we at least talk about within our communities. The rabbit hole goes deep.
It really does. And we're about to go even deeper, because in the Pacific Northwest, I'm talking about like Oregon, North Carolina, Washington, they are experiencing right now in the middle of a heat wave. Now we're talking about a part of the United States where the average temperature is like 79 to 82 degrees. But at the current moment, they're reaching temperatures 102, 112, 118 degrees. These people in these homes don't have air conditioners because they never had to use them. And now you're going from very, very moderate temperatures to 118 degrees. Let me show you what's going on. This is real life, y'all. This is real life.
Almost makes me think of Texas over this past winter.
Exactly.
Getting a snowstorm out of nowhere. Similar to the West Coast not really having, the North.
Go ahead. You can finish talking, bro.
Just similar to the Northwest not really needing air conditioners because the climate generally doesn't get that hot. Texas's infrastructure is pretty much the same way when it comes to cold. And so when we look at energy grids and when we look at the way we're making our homes comfortable, all of this ties in with natural resources. All of this ties into what we'll call environmental science. And so this isn't an abstract concept. This directly ties to all of our quality of lives. We know when things go wrong, who tends to be the group that gets the short end of the stick.
Check this out, y'all.
North America is sizzling. The temperature is rising from California to Canada, and so is the death toll. Millions of people in Western Canada and northwestern US states are under heat alerts. Now, the rise in mercury has broken almost all the historic heat records in Canada. And while Western Canada bakes in record-breaking temperatures, the police have reported scores of deaths linked to the scorching conditions. At present, the North American country is faced by a deadly heat wave, contributing to over 300 deaths. As per records in Vancouver, the police have responded to more than 140 sudden death calls in the city since Friday. And the British Columbian region reported over 230 deaths early this week. Meanwhile, Canadian paramedics have responded to nearly 2,000 heat-related calls. The same heat wave has hammered northwestern US as well. Temperatures in Portland and Seattle have reached levels not seen since record-keeping began in 1940s. Now, soaring temperatures in California's countryside areas have raised fears of wildfires. Windy, dry conditions with lightning storms could spark blazes forecast across several parts of western United States. Now, scientists have called this an unprecedented and exceptional event, also predicting that more unusual weather patterns are likely to become more common going ahead amid rising global temperatures.
To put it in perspective, both Canada and Oregon set temperature records that are higher than any temperature ever experienced in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is in the middle of the Mojave Desert. So this is truly an unprecedented and exceptional event.
Now, WION correspondent Jagriti Dave is joining us live from Washington, D.C. Jagriti, thank you for joining us. Record-breaking temperatures. Could you give us a lowdown of the situation on ground?
Yes, I think it's from many people who live in the Northwest Pacific area. They say this is something that they have not seen in decades. Let's take the example of Oregon in the Northwest, where we're hearing from the State Medical Examiner's Office, which said that 63 people have died since Friday. Many of them have been found alone without air conditioning or a fan. And they're saying that hospitals in Oregon are also seeing a huge influx of people coming in to seek treatment for heat related issues. So, what we're seeing is sort of a huge, an extreme weather event, extreme heat in an area which is not actually used to this kind of temperature, which many politicians and experts are putting down to evidence of climate change.
Right, Jagriti. Also, as I mentioned earlier, these unprecedented weather conditions are expected to continue and become more common. There have also been sudden deaths linked to this. There are fears now of wildfires. Are there any measures in place? What is being done for that?
Well, I think this is right now, there's meetings happening to try to exactly work out what can be done. This is not something that's new. I think we talked about those wildfires in the western states, in the United States, the California wildfires on this program in the past, where lawmakers, environmentalists have all said, well, look, this is due to climate change as well. I mean, Joe Biden was meeting with governors of Western US states and fire officials at the start of the annual North American wildfire season. So, it's not just the extreme heat, but also wildfires that they've had to contend with. I mean, wildfires is an issue where there's the issue of forest management as well that comes into this. But I think there is a real sense, that climate change, something needs to be done to address it. We're seeing this on a global stage with the United States, the European Union and other partners, allies, trying to work together, putting climate change at the forefront of their domestic and international policies. And bringing it back to home, we've had Washington's Governor Jay Inslee, who is basically in an op-ed in the Seattle Times saying we have to turn up our level of efforts fighting the underlying cause of our changing world, climate change.
Absolutely, Jagriti. Thank you so much for all your insights on that, but do stay with us. I will come back to you.
Bruh, I just saw something disgusting. What did you notice? What did you notice about that visual where it was plush and green? What was that? What were those settings that were plush and green?
Golf courses.
Golf courses. Where do you think the people who are coming up with these solutions, problem, reaction, solution, where do you think they're meeting at? Do you think they're meeting in one of these neighborhoods, one of these communities, on one of these farms where it's a drought? Or are they meeting on this plush green golf course?
I would guess either more likely the plush green golf course.
Perception is everything. If I'm conducting business that's affecting the world in my private jet, flying to wherever it's cool, flying to wherever it's warm, flying to wherever there's food, or on this space surrounded by green, now am I going to really be able to make honest, objective decisions that are affecting the whole side of a country where there's hundreds of millions of people?
And then what's really disturbing, like we said, all those agricultural products that come from California and the West Coast in general, they feed the world. They don't just feed America. The largest thing that we export in this country is agricultural products. So there's going to be a shortage, not only for us, especially for us, because at the end of the day, if they have I really truly believe that if the country has a choice between, export these agricultural products to make some money, or let's keep these agricultural products so we can feed our people, dollar bills.
So look at this. two ways. So these agricultural products, I know pork, China's a big purchase of our pork, soy, corn, other raw commodities, and livestock. And so when we think about what we call black farmers, the majority of farmers who are earning a formidable income from their operations is from livestock. And so what do livestock have in common with people? They have to drink a significant amount of water, right? And so we see with the Farmers of Color Act, how people react to, oh, y'all gonna give something to these black farmers. And so how do you think other farmers who are facing this same environmental problem are gonna react in a situation where there's this crisis? Nobody's gonna be, going up to DC or whoever the power brokers are saying, hey, now whatever we're gonna do, we gotta make sure these black farmers involved in this too. And so this group is already coming from a deficit as far as support from your federal government. Another thing during the conversation of what they were saying, and this kind of ties into everything else going on with these discussions right now, not to digress from our topic, is we need an international effort to address this. And so I guarantee you what's going on in, say, northern Russia isn't the same thing going on in Central Africa, isn't the same thing going on in South America, isn't the same thing going on in Waycross, Georgia. And so every area, just like a human body, okay, my toe is hurting. So are you going to give me headache medicine? In this body of earth, you have to be very specific. Here at B1AG, we really focus on this concept of localizing our food system. When you're starting to get into the environment and ecology, yeah, that's a little bit more complex, right? Not to say that these aren't problems we need to address, but as we have this conversation about localizing our food systems, it is impacted by, okay, what is the global wave of conversation? When we think about the experimental medicines going on right now, when we think about the concept of lockdowns, I've been hearing lately, even mainstream news is talking about, after the COVID goes down, we're going to have climate lockdowns. Because it's just so hot out here, the greenhouse, the climate is going crazy, so we got to lock y'all down too. And so once again, okay, we're a year into being normalized with this concept of lockdown, being used to this concept of, hey, you're going to have to go without something that you were used to because there's a virus. Okay, what happens in 2022? And I know you had shot a date. I hope you bring that up here shortly. What happens in 2022, 2023? That these heat waves, these climate changes continue happening where now, okay, we got to lock you down for climate now. Well, because we don't have that much water out here, you can't really take a bath. Well, we can't. I know y'all want y'all's hamburgers, so do you want to take a bath or do you want these cows to be watered so they can get your hamburgers, your milk? We got some very serious issues, and like we're talking about this gentleman who created this water. It's a machine that gets water. So saying that to say, we know that there are brains already focusing on, okay, we have a problem. What can we do for a solution? And it's very peculiar why even in the midst of these solutions existing, that they're suppressed.
Very much so. The man of the hour today is Moses West. This is Moses West. Black retired military, developed this machine, the atmospheric water generator. And he built this off of his Army retirement. He didn't get funding. He didn't go out and get loans. He actually built this using his retirement from the military to bring this service and to the world, to bring this solution to the world. And again, it's like, why is this man on the news or his technology that he's bringing to the world? Why isn't this talked about as much as Cardi B? Why is Megan Thee Stallion and other nonsense? Why are we talking about Lil Nas X? Why is this stuff garbage that has nothing to do with life, real life, sustaining life, being pushed and talked about more than Moses West and this atmospheric machine that creates water. We're in the midst of a mega drought and heat wave, which is going to affect all facets of life.
I challenge the B1 family to look up Dr. William Reich. He created a cloud buster machine. This was back in 1953. He made it rain for hours. The rainmaking device in a drought-prone region. You know, what are we talking about right now? These drought-prone regions. The government soon got on his back and jailed him under violations of FDA rules regarding various other inventions. Dr. Reich died in jail, and his eco-friendly inventions were suppressed, and his studies were destroyed by court order. This was in 1953. And so I'm imagining Mr. West, not Kanye West, Mr. Moses West, did his study. As he was coming up with this invention, he did his background research on, you know, what has been done, what can I add to it? And so we find ourselves in 2021, and you got to wonder, the FDA was the one that penalized Dr. Reich. And this was a white man. And so what do you think Dr. Moses West is dealing with? Having his machine vandalized. You know, when we think about the things we're protecting, you know, I tend to be a little perturbed by this narrative that the only thing wrong in Black community is police brutality, law enforcement. Yeah, that's an issue. Absolutely. It's not to say that's not an issue, but to make that the only conversation when we're talking about somehow, you know, serving this group of people, you're making it like everybody's a criminal and we're looking to be protected in the court of law. What about the protection of our inventors? The people who we have out here that are thinking, is there a protection layer? Is there impact? Is there a Huey Newton gun club? Is there a protection layer of our inventors? Because we can keep trying to protect one another from social injustices that just keep happening. And then there's also a part of us that's actually out here, like Mr. West, coming up with solutions and real-time inventions to address something that's directly affecting all of us, which is the environment we live in, which is our food security. What if Mr. West had the grassroots support crowdfunding to be able to make enough machines to make it rain on some of the Black farms who aren't able to get some of these government subsidies? That would give them a leg up in many ways, right? When we're talking about machinery, like you said, he said, hey, you know, this is something you can make it. You can make this yourself. And so now this boy's down into actual tangible materials. Do we have a community? Do we have enough people? Not everybody, but we have a significant amount of people within our community that value, okay, I can invest in, you know, some land over here, cool, but who's going to work it? I can invest in some real estate, okay, cool, but who's going to live in it? Who's going to pay me rent right now when people are getting kicked out? But as we're waiting to figure out what's the best place to place our money, we need rain. You know, what if this trend of droughts keep existing? I hate to talk your head off, bro, but another thing that on that diagram I noticed up in Canada, that's very close to one of the coldest regions of the earth, and that's the North Pole. And so my mind, I mean, I'm not much of a scientist, but my mind is like, now how is it getting so hot up there, so close to one of Earth's air conditioning points?
It does open up the door for a lot of questions. But I would also like to show share with our listeners, again, Moses West, when the Flint, Michigan water crisis, he was right there on the spot. He brought his machine to Flint, Michigan to provide that community with water, with free, clean water. And this is the story of what happened behind when he brought this water to Michigan.
They drained fuel. They added something to the coolant lines. They played with electronics. And that's not typical vandal stuff.
Less than a week after bringing free water to Flint, Moses West says the green machine he designed to do just that was vandalized.
Once they broke into the machine and they destroyed the generator, very technical. They knew what they were doing. It wasn't just, random vandalism, not at all. They destroyed the battery. They put metal in the fuel system. I saw that when I was cleaning the fuel filter.
West is a military veteran who travels across the country to areas in crisis, bringing a machine he designed, like this one, that literally makes fresh water out of thin air. He put the green machine out for people along Saginaw Street on Thursday and was hoping to make a big impact. He says before the vandalism, they were giving hundreds of people free water every day.
You got to look at, I'm making anywhere from 1,200 to 2,000 gallons of water a day and giving away for free. That's a lot of money out of somebody's pocket someplace.
West says that he can only speculate as to why someone would try to destroy something that was just trying to help the community.
West says he hopes to have the green machine back open and working again soon, with some anti-vandalism features added as well.
It actually sits in the air. I set it on the ground because the ground was a little bit unstable for it to sit on the legs, but now I've got all support for the legs. All 21,000 pounds, though, it'll sit up in the air and make it harder for people to get to do devious things to the machine.
In Flint, Rachel McCrary, WNEM TV5.
You got more people right now defending certain entertainers' choice of clothing and performances than this melanated man who came up with a solution that could easily affect tens of thousands of residents in Michigan and anywhere else that's having a water problem. You really got to question a lot of these altruistic organizations that are giving away free water. Nothing on this planet is free. I mean, we've lived long enough to understand that. There's an organization that gets some sort of grant, some sort of funding to go help the we got to go help the little helpless darkies. You know, we're going to give them water that's going to come from our company. This is sick, man. This is sick. And, he was I think he played it very cool. He's not stupid. He knew what it was. He's going through the detail of, okay, somebody really knew what they was doing to destroy this. And so once again, I get it, putting it on the legs to make it harder. But when you have somebody that's going to go that hard to destroy an invention that helps people, the mind really got to wonder if, hey, y'all, are we talking about the right things right now? Are we taking the right stance when it comes to our collective voice? I remember this news story a few years ago, and it's just amazing how it kind of got swept under the rug and replaced with everything else but the essence of, now, why would somebody come and destroy what this man has going on? We see certain groups have legislation, protect against, violence against certain groups. You would think that a caring, altruistic government would be like, now, hey, we got citizens. We got former military personnel who are coming up with inventions to help our citizenry. If you want to, if you don't see us under the 3/5 concept, we got somebody who's coming through here with a solution. And so can we protect the inventors? Black inventors matter, right? This is sick.
Now, one of the key things with this machine is it takes very low power. So not only does it create water out of thin air, it doesn't take a lot of power to do so. So you can literally, they can power this machine with solar panels. So you don't have to plug this thing up. You just, it's ready to go. Solar panel powered water production. Let's just go through the list of things where this could be really helpful. Now, we're talking about out west. We have farmers for livestock producers. The main thing, especially out west, there's no water to give to the animals. Put up one of these machines out there, one or two. It can just take one or two machines. And you literally have enough water to feed all the cattle on the West Coast. Talking about wildfires. Why not you can set 3 or 4 machines behind the wildfires or ahead of the wildfires. You can take care of the wildfire problems using water that's coming from the air. That's less transport, like when they're actively trying to put the fire out, If you have these machines creating water, you know, that can lessen the amount of trips or the time of the trips for the helicopters or airplanes that drop the water. You know, you can shorten that time. You know, you have a better chance of putting that fire out. We're
Think
talking
about
about
people.
agriculture. You know, like, you know, with the vertical farming that already uses 90% less water to grow food. You can literally put up a vertical farming production like they did in Compton, you know, where you can get 750 acres of agricultural production squeezed into 2 acres. Hook up one of these machines to that. You're creating all the water you need to support 750 acres of agricultural production on 2 acres. I'm not a dummy. And I ain't a genius. See, I'm not that smart, but that's a very simple solution to me. What's going on, bro?
Think about Las Vegas. You know, the sister Deborah. And, you know, she's really wanting to get her garden started. Like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I got all my seeds, got all my pots, but we're having a water crisis. You know, we're not allowed to use water. And if you look at Las Vegas geographically, I can only imagine how bad it is right there right now with these droughts. And so what happens, because we do have a significant amount of melanated family in these regions where it's hot, this would definitely be an asset to Las Vegas. You know, here at B1AG, you know, we're specifically focused on the B1 family, but as a municipality, like, why would you not want to seek this man out and his invention? You know, you think of the things people get contracts for in any city, town you go to, you would think that this man will be in high demand. You would think that his name, we see Dr. Fauci, you know, we see all of these names of people who's coming around with these solutions. But, you know, people, I'm bringing you water. And I can tell you what the ingredients in water is: hydrogen and oxygen, right? You got to wonder how much, but we want to help your community first. Well, what happens when your community is finding ways to help themselves? And not just themselves. I imagine there's other complexions and ethnicities of people in Flint, Michigan, where this man's invention was destroyed. I'm just making a point to the family. I mean, what's understood don't need to be explained. But hey, they would do this with your drinking water, with something that exists. I mean, how many other agricultural innovations have been suppressed? We know that hemp, for example, hemp is a very sustainable fuel. Hemp is also known to cure cancer. And I'm not a doctor. This is publicly known. But then it was made illegal for many years. Volkswagen years ago came up with cars that were hydrogen powered, didn't need any gas. There's been all sorts of these inventions that are eco-friendly. You know, we have this great climate push. We want to come together as a global community and come together and make the world a better place. And then, you know, it's one thing, okay, I heard a story about this guy named Moses West, but we watched it. And once you see truth, then it's on you now of the person who saw the truth. We see that there are people that have solutions to these issues. And so instead of these social justice issues that you can't really write on paper, vague, and it's not to say they don't have a place in our conversation, how much of a lobby, how much of a voice of concern are we creating from a grassroots level? Not waiting until somebody else comes and funds us and gives us some funding or a grant to then address it. How much of this is starting at the grassroots level? Hey, y'all, we got people who's already producing solutions. Now, you know, how long are we going to wait for entities like, say, the FDA or other entities that say they exist to address these problems, but then have historically suppressed, jailed, and even, you know, been responsible for silencing people who have come along to address them? There does lie a responsibility within our households, our communities, our respective regions. And this goes far beyond what we call ourselves. This goes far beyond what our religious, political ideologies are. what I don't want to happen, you know, my mom always tell me it ain't about what you want. It ain't about what you want. What I hope not to happen is that we find ourselves where it's gone so far down the road that we neglect these conversations. We don't coalesce around these people like Mr. West, and then there's no more of them. The materials don't exist to build this. You know, what is it? Dr. Amos Wilson said the majority of Black wealth is in the grave, with people that went to the grave and they weren't able to fulfill the wealth of knowledge that they understood. Everybody doesn't have to have a college degree and a doctorate to create something that solves real world problems. They need support. Sometimes everybody doesn't have money, right? I imagine there's a lot of people who have a few dollars, a couple $100s to their names that influence millions of people just through what they tweet about, just through what they talk about on their podcast. Here at B1AG, you know, we're not oblivious to, hey, you know, we're not a big podcast. It would be great if we had a groundswell of people that participate, and it's just as great if we have a handful that can internalize what we're talking about and then apply it to where they're at. This is a game of niches. I imagine Moses West didn't get a whole bunch of people coming to fund his project. Like he said out of his mouth, there are a lot of people stand to lose money because I came up with this invention. But, you know, now am I going to sit here and worry about who's losing money on those plush green golf courses? Or am I going to worry about these communities full of people who need water?
I know another beauty of his machine is, like, you know, we've seen in the news clips where they were giving people bottles of water, those little bottles of water. Those little bottles of water turn into a lot of plastic waste. His machine he doesn't create plastic waste. All you need is a large container. All you need is a container that we already have. So we can really just reuse containers that we already have to collect this water. Now, his website, you can go to moseswestfoundation.org to learn more about his machine and all of his philanthropy and what he really wants to do for the world. He made this machine off of his military retirement. He's a godsend. This man is a godsend. He should be on TV way more than a lot of people that are on this television and on our internet and on our news and on our timelines. He has the answer to a lot of our problems through water. And this is a term that actually Farmer Brown introduced to me: economically motivated adulteration. In my mind, that equals to greed. But economically motivated adulteration, these are people making societal decisions based on their own financial gain. And this is running rampant in this country. This is running rampant in this world. They don't care. They're putting profits over people. There are people literally that will value a dollar bill, which value is falling every day. They'll put that over your life. Over your life. Because if this man who created this machine, who's not even really worried about getting paid for it, he just wants people to have water. Why can't the government take the same stance? Why can't the government take these machines, which are made in Wisconsin, not in China? We don't have to ship it across the world. They're made in Wisconsin. It's an American-made machine from an American inventor.
Well, now, Mr. Harris, I mean, if you can, you know, water your crops, if you can feed yourself, if you can, you know, be self-sustainable, I mean, well, how am I going to make you stay in your house? You know, how am I going to make you drive less? How am I going to make you eat less? How am I going to make you accept eating different forms of protein that may not necessarily come from living organisms? I don't want you to be too sustainable. That's counter profit.
Now, he was being sarcastic, but there's a lot of truth in what he's saying. That's how someone really may feel. That's why here at B1AG, we push for growing your own food. That's why you need to go sign up on how to grow your own food at healthyblackfood.com. That's why we push that. You know what I'm saying? We really want you to get black to the garden and learn how to grow your own food at healthyblackfood.com. Go sign up. You know, want to present you solutions because we see the problems. And if we don't come up with our own solutions, we're going to get left behind, way behind, because that's where they always want us anyway. You know, they want us at the back of the bus. You know, when it comes, if the food, if it was a buffet line, they want us at the end of the buffet line. Matter of fact, they don't even want us in line. They said you can have what it will give you or let you have whatever's left.
I think in our classrooms right now, you know, as people, I doubt they're going to have Moses West in the average classroom as somebody to study. This gentleman is definitely somebody that melanated kids need to know about. It's my contention that if some of these young kids who still their minds are impressionable, they don't think that science is just, you know, Albert Einstein or Elon Musk. If they see what he's invented, you know, apply this, you know, Dr. Boyce is talking about what a 200-year, China has a 200-year plan, a 100-year plan. We need a 50-year plan, family. And so imagine a 10-year-old today hears this story about Moses West. Read about it, you know, understand the social implications of what this man did, understand his background. Okay, he had to go to a military to get this understanding, which he served. He served his nation, and he got that understanding. Since he said he's in his retirement, I assumed he was older than both of us when he actually created this. And so imagine if we're thinking 50 years down the road, 100 years down the road, a 10-year-old today getting this game. It's that much more time that 10-year-old's not going to have going through a whole lot of arbitrary, now, what am I going to do with my life? You know, if it's made important and understood to that 10-year-old that, hey, everything walking this planet is about 75% water. Every person you see, you like your dog over there, he's 75% water. You like your hamburger? Well, if you like real hamburgers, that cow it came from, the turkey, whatever form of anything you're eating is 75% water. This man that looks like you, dad, mom, auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa, created this machine that can harness water out of thin air. Now, little 10-year-old, you know, as you journey through what you're going to be, what could you do with this invention? What crazy idea would you use to make this same thing happen? And there lies innovation. We're in an age now where you can patent your ideas. Maybe 10-year-old gets the game from what Mr. West came up with and realize, you know what, to do this, I'm going to need gang. So, you know, instead of gang defending the block that we don't own, that we'll eventually get swept up off of, gang's going to defend these little hubs, these hubs of innovation that we come up with. We're going to redirect this energy. We're going to redirect this righteous anger towards something that is producing justice. He's producing rain, but I think earlier in the podcast, he said producing justice, giving people that need the most help, the most productive help. To me, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. It's one thing us just sitting on here babbling about, oh, problem is dry as hot. Here's a solution. The solution exists. If you can't support with money, support with your attention. What do they say? Attention is the new currency. And focus these brilliant melanated minds on, you know, get like me. Get like Mr. Moses West.
And as brilliant as this creation is, you could actually make one yourself using materials found around your home. Now, they won't produce as much water as his machine does, but it's very simple science. It's taking the humidity out of the air. It's a huge dehumidifier. That's all it is. It's a big dehumidifier. You can use condensation to make your own clean water out of the air using a 2-liter soda bottle. It's time we use our own common sense. It's time we use the knowledge and the will and the know-how in our own hands that, we were provided with by the Creator to solve our own problems. Because too many people that are supposed to be our elected officials are supposed to be that we've entrusted for our security, for our safety, they are ruled by economically motivated adulteration or greed. That's what they're motivated by. That's what they drive. That's the gas that drives them. And we're the gas, we're the gas that pushes them forward. They parasite off of us, off of our energy, off our belief, off our votes, off our resources. Moses West creates this machine that turns air into water. Facing the drought, we need water to grow our crops. Farmers are making life decisions about their livestock. Do I feed and water these cows, or do I grow food? These problems can be, it's a simple snap of a finger and it's fixed with this machine. B1AG family, I hope you see this. I hope you can understand where we're coming from. Understand that we are going to have to get back into the mind state of taking care of our own problems. Now, we're focusing on the B1 family, the Black community, but this is a humanity problem because you know what? We could try to make everything racial, but it's not. Everything is not racial because there are going to be a lot of non-melanated people affected by this drought and by these shortages. They're affected as well. This is a problem for humanity because the top 1% that are controlling this, who really have all the resources to fix this, apparently they're coming from an inhumane state of mind because they'd rather watch us perish than to thrive and live. Now, please subscribe to the B1AG Daily Bread podcast on YouTube. Just type in B1AG Daily Bread podcast. Please subscribe, like, and share. And also be sure to go to healthyblackfood.com. Go to healthyblackfood.com and sign up on how to grow your own food. Let's get black to the garden. That's healthyblackfood.com. And once again, MosesWestFoundation.org. Check him out. Look at what he's got going on. Look at all the charity work and all the hundreds of thousands of gallons of water that he's providing to people in need. Don't get caught, don't get complacent, don't get comfortable because you may not be thirsty right now. We're telling you that the thirst is coming. It's coming, and it's gonna affect, even if it's not, like I said, we're in the middle of a hurricane season. So where I'm at, rain is not an issue. We get plenty of rain. But on that West Coast, it's an issue. But all those agricultural products that are created on the West Coast that supply a lot of these products out this way and across the world, if those foods and products can't be produced, that means it's going to be less. And that means it's going to be less for us too. So, Farmer Brown, it's a heavy discussion today. We hope that these seeds get planted in the minds of our listeners and they harvest some great ideas like Moses West. So, if you really want to know something, Farmer Brown, what does the B1 family need to do?
If you really want to know something, let's focus on solutions and learn how to grow something.
Thank you again for another episode of B1AG, the Daily Bread Podcast. Subscribe, like, share. Let's make this a part of our daily conversation. Until we meet you again, till we see you again, I wish you all the love, all the rain, all the prosperity, all the abundance, everything positive, all positive as we head to this weekend, and stay cool. We out.